Now, a couple months ago, we watched the greatest career of all time in Terry LaFleur. He was a forward who began his career as a 0 overall with high franchise potential, and over the years, he turned into one of the greatest players of all time. Well, today we're doing that again, except we're not going to be doing it with a forward, nor are we doing it with a defenseman, but instead, we have ourselves a 0 overall goaltender. Meet Marty Wah, a 0 overall goalie with high franchise potential, and right now, he's not expected to do too much. He's not expected to ever play any minutes in the NHL. He can't skate, he can't make a blocker save, he can't make a glove save. This man doesn't even know how to drop into the butterfly yet. But over the years, he will learn to do all these things. And on top of that, he will become one of the greatest goalies of all time, and he will lead whichever team drafts him to multiple Stanley Cups. But there is one thing we have to do before any of that happens. We have to simulate this first season and figure out which team is going to have the honor of drafting Marty Wah. Now, at the end of the day, I'm not too worried about the standings here. Marty Wah is projected in the 3rd round. That means every team is going to have at least one opportunity to draft this man, and if all of these guys pass up on him, well, then that's their loss. Marty Wah is an absolute superstar, a superstar in the making. The Edmonton Oilers Stanley Cup champions, they're beating the Toronto Maple Leafs, but which team is going to be getting the first overall pick, and technically the first chance at selecting Marty Wah, well, that's going to be the Chicago Blackhawks, followed by the Pittsburgh Penguins and Buffalo Sabres. So those are the first 3 teams that could draft Marty Wah. However, I highly doubt any of them are going to be drafting him. So we've made to the draft, and Marty Wah, I just want to double check. Are you still projected somewhere in the 3rd round? Well, we're about to find out. It looks like you're projected around 85th overall. We have semi-accurate scouting on our man Marty, but whether it's semi-accurate, inaccurate, or accurate, we know one thing about Marty Wah. He has franchise potential, and he's a 0 overall. So what we're going to do is we're going to simulate the first 2 rounds, because there's no point in us paying attention to those rounds. Now, I've gone ahead and simulated up to about the 81st overall pick. We're now in the range of where Marty Wah could get drafted. Calgary, you're going to have the next chance to select this man. Are you going to do that? It doesn't look like it, but Calgary has back-to-back picks, so they could potentially go with Marty Wah here, but they're not going to do that. Philly, are you going to select the next great goaltender? It looks like it. Marty Wah is going to be taking his talents over to the Philadelphia Flyers, joining the team as a goaltender who has high franchise potential, but is also a 36 overall. This man can't do anything, except he does play the puck a lot. His puck playing frequency is at an 85, and the only reason I said to an 85 is because that's really the equivalent of pass shoot bias. It doesn't affect his overall whatsoever. It just factors into how much he plays the puck. So Marty Wah, you're going to be taking your talents over to the Philadelphia Flyers. Honestly, that's a very interesting team for you to join, and right now, I'm all for it. As long as they utilize Marty Wah in the correct way, he could be a superstar for them in the future. But Marty Wah, you're going to be taking your talents over to the Philadelphia Flyers. However, don't expect to play at all this season for them, because obviously you have to play a couple more seasons in the WHL. You're not ready to make the jump to the NHL, let alone the AHL. So you're going to be spending another 2 seasons with the Moose Jaw Warriors developing. This is definitely the best thing for your development. Like, if we tried to force you into the AHL right now, well, that would just be an absolute disaster. So Marty, enjoy a couple more seasons in the WHL. Eventually you'll be our AHL goaltender. So there's only 2 things for us to do moving forward. 1, simulate the season and wait for Marty Wah to develop. And 2, have you subscribed to the channel? Because did you know over 50% of the people watching this video right now aren't even subscribed? Now that's absolutely ridiculous, especially when being subscribed to the channel gives you a better viewing experience. So you should change that right now. Subscribe to the channel and enjoy the video a little bit more. Now, although the standings don't really matter right now because Marty Wah is not even in the NHL, we do need to follow the Philadelphia Flyers because I need to know what direction this team's headed. Are they getting really good draft picks, or are they competing for Stanley Cups? Well, it looks like they're going to be competing for a Stanley Cup because they did make the playoffs, 13th in the entire league. I was fully expecting this team to be terrible. I did not expect them to make the playoffs, but here we are. The Colorado Avalanche are going to go on to win the Stanley Cup. They're sweeping the Carolina Hurricanes. Meanwhile, Philly would fall to the Carolina Hurricanes in the 2nd round in 7 games, so maybe the Flyers aren't that bad of a team. Hopefully they're going to be able to keep this up for the next couple of years, because when Marty Wah joins the team, he doesn't want to be wasting any seasons. He wants to be competing for Stanley Cups all the time. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Philadelphia Flyers, and let's figure out how good our man Marty Wah was this season. Did he dominate in the WHL? Well, it looks like he's up to a 42 overall, and as a 42 overall, he didn't play any games. Alright, he was a healthy scratch for the Moose Jaw Warriors the entire season. Bro did not touch the ice whatsoever. Alright, I don't know if that's a good sign or not, but he's up to a 42 overall, so I guess we can celebrate that. He doesn't have 36s across the board anymore, so yeah, shout out to Marty Wah, I guess. Now, moving into this season, we don't have to worry about Marty Wah too much, because at the end of the day, bro's gonna be spending spending another season in the WHL, he's not ready to make the jump quite yet. However, he is up to a 47 overall, and I'll definitely take a 47 overall moving into his next season in the WHL. I'm hoping he's going to dominate here, and once he dominates, he'll move into the AHL as like a 60 overall or something. If Marty Wah can be a 60 overall entering the AHL, I think he's going to be in a really good spot. But I feel like asking for him to improve 13 overalls is asking for quite a bit. Maybe a 57 overall is more realistic. But at the end of the day, he does have high franchise potential, so who knows, maybe he's going to see some crazy development. Okay, I'm not going to lie, this hurts a little bit. The Philadelphia Flyers are Stanley Cup champions. They did that without Marty Wah. I can't believe this team just won in the year 2028. How on earth did they rebuild that fast? It doesn't make any sense. But the Philadelphia Flyers are Stanley Cup champions. Meanwhile, Marty Wah is still playing in the WHL. He hasn't even made to the AHL quite yet. Nah, Philly must have been on a different level this season, because I certainly wasn't expecting that. When it comes to Marty Wah, he's up to a 59 overall at 19 years old. He had a decent season in the WHL, 31 wins, an 893 and a 344. I don't really care about the save percentage or the goals against. He had 5 shutouts on top of his 31 wins, but he's up to a 59 overall, and truthfully, that's the only number I'm concerned about right now. His overall is looking not too bad. 2.5 stars in his reflexes, 1 in puck control, half a star in his athletic. That doesn't really make too much sense. Why is it called athletic? I'm calling that physicals. Half a star in his physical attributes. Why would it be called his athletic? I feel like that doesn't make too much sense, but you know what? That's neither here nor there. Half a star is in his physical attributes, in my opinion. 1 star in puck control, 2.5 stars in his reflexes. His athletic. Why is it called his athletic? Maybe I'm tripping, but that just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm calling that his physical attributes. Marty Wah up to a 59 overall. He should be able to make the jump up to like a 62 by the beginning of next season. However, I do have one concern, whether or not he's going to play any games in the AHL, because there is a possibility he's just a healthy scratch for this Philly team. I don't really know where he fits in with this team. But you know what? We'll address that at a later time. Marty Wah's making the jump to the AHL. Hopefully he can see a little bit of ice time. So I haven't looked at the Philadelphia Flyers AHL team quite yet, so I'm not 100% sure what the goaltending situation on this team is like, but we're about to take a look at our goalies, and it looks like Marty Wah is going to be the backup this season. He is going to get some minutes in the AHL. This is probably the best thing for his development. I don't care that he's not the starter here. He is going to play some AHL games. That's going to help his development. Hopefully by the beginning of next season, he's up to a 70 overall, and then maybe in 2 seasons, he can be the starting goaltender for the AHL affiliate, and then after that, he can take over the NHL. But as a 61 overall, gain some minutes in the AHL, that's actually going to be pretty good for his development. I'm sorry, but you can't make this up. The Philadelphia Flyers are now back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. I can't wait for Marty Wah to join this team and then never win a Stanley Cup. I know it's going to happen. I'm pretty sure we all know what's going to happen, and it's going to be infuriating. The Philadelphia Flyers aren't going to start losing until Marty Wah joins their team, and I think we all know it. The AHL affiliate is going to be making the playoffs. The Phantoms are finishing with a 41-23-8 record, but there is just no way the Philadelphia Flyers have now won back-to-back Stanley Cups. Like, that is so incredibly crazy. In the year 2028 and 2029, back-to-back Stanley Cup champions for the team. You can't make this up. You really can't make it up. When it comes to Marty Wah's numbers, 14 wins this season, 2 shouts, a 9-12 and a 244. Honestly, these aren't that bad of numbers in the AHL for Marty. He's only a 62 overall. I was really hoping he would take a bigger jump this season. But you know what? I think there is a chance that he's the starting goaltender next season. I can't imagine Carson's going to be returning to the team, especially at 23 years old. He's probably going to get called up to the NHL, but I guess it really depends on who's the starting goaltender. Monty's the number 1 for this team. I guess he's won back-to-back Stanley Cups. Arison, are they going to keep you around? How many more years are you under contract? It looks like 1 more after this one. So Marty Wah will likely be the backup goaltender in the AHL for 1 more season. Then he'll be taken over as the number 1. But Philly has really won back-to-back Stanley Cups now. Like, that's crazy. Now, as of right now, the Lehigh Valley Phantoms aren't seeing as much success as the Philadelphia Flyers. But why would they be? The Philadelphia Flyers have won back-to-back Stanley Cups. I still haven't figured out how that's happened. Marty Wah, you're up to a 66 overall. A 66 overall isn't the greatest in the world. However, I do believe you're going to be at least above a 70 next season. You're going to be taking over as the starting goaltender here. And I think 2 seasons as the starting goaltender in the AHL is going to be good for you. And in a matter of 3 seasons, you're going to be ready to dominate the NHL. You're going to be taken over, and you're going to prove you're one of the best goaltenders in the game. Until then, though, you're just going to be chilling as the backup. Now, the Lehigh Valley Phantoms look pretty solid this season. 7th in the AHL with a 41-20-11 record. I'm hoping hoping our guy Marty got a handful of starts this season, more than he did last season, but I highly doubt it because at the end of the day, we still have our 82 overall in between the pipes. So Marty Wah's starts are definitely going to be affected by that. He's not going to be playing that many games. When it comes to his numbers this season, 16 wins, 5 shutouts, a 922 and a 221. Nah, bro was actually locked in. In the games in which he did play, he was dominating. He's up to a 67 overall. Ideally, by next season, he's a 71. He's the starting goaltender in the AHL. But these numbers right here, I'm definitely not going to complain with these numbers. Truthfully, he should have been the starting goaltender, and he low-key did compete. Nah, Marty Wah is definitely ready to take over next season. Now, when it comes to the Calder Cup playoffs, are the Phantoms coming out on top? It doesn't look like it. They made it all the way to the final, but ended up losing in 5 games. That is certainly a tough way to go out. Marty Wah, did you play any postseason games? I kind of doubt you did. Like, at the end of the day, we would have ran our starting goaltender for a majority of the games. You did jump into 2 of the games, and the 2 games you played, a 944 and a 132. Nah, you should have been the starting goaltender. They were disrespecting our man Marty Wah a little bit too much. Now, when it comes to the NHL standings, we will take a quick look at the Philadelphia Flyers. They've been dominating over the past 2 seasons. I'm curious to see if that's going to continue, but I'm thinking it probably didn't because this team didn't even make the playoffs. 22nd in the entire league, a 36-36-10 record after winning back-to-back Stanley Cups. They're going to be missing the postseason. Nah, it's a tough look for those boys. But Marty Wah, be prepared to be the starting goaltender next season in the AHL. You're going to lead the Phantoms to a Calder Cup championship, and then after that, you're going for the Stanley Cup. Oh yeah, by the way, Philly doesn't even own their first round pick. They traded that to Chicago, so that's just fantastic. So the Philadelphia Flyers and Lehigh Valley Phantoms, they're not messing around anymore. It's time for Marty Wah to take over the league, and he's getting the start in the AHL. He's the #1 goaltender here, high franchise potential, a 71 overall. He should be an 80 overall by the end of the season, and then he'll be ready to make the jump into the NHL. Marty Wah is just a couple seasons away from dominating the NHL. All the goal scorers in the league are scared. They know once Marty Wah makes the jump into the NHL, scoring in the league is going to be all over. He's going to be a goal scorer's worst nightmare. He's going to be stopping everything. He's going to be averaging a shutout per game. He's never going to allow a goal. Okay, obviously we're gassing bro up a little bit too much, but you get the point. Once he makes the jump into the NHL, the league's going to be scared. Now, I think Marty Wah might have just proved he's the next great up-and-coming goaltender. The Phantoms finished first in the AHL with 52 wins, but on top of that, the best defense in the league. They were allowing under 2 goals per game. Marty Wah, you're the next elite goaltender. Nothing moving forward changes my mind on that. As long as you get your opportunity, you're going to turn to that next superstar, because what you did this season doesn't even make sense. The Phantoms were dominating. Lakovic was the top guy when it comes to the offensive core, but when it comes to goaltending, look at our man Matt Guzda. Why are you here? Why was Matt Guzda the starting goaltender? We didn't need him. Marty Wah had 22 wins, 3 shutouts, a 931 and a 188. Matt Guzda, why on earth did we trade for you? We didn't need you. We had Marty Wah, the 72 overall that just had incredible numbers. They don't want to see this man succeed. They want to see Marty Wah fail. He just put up some of the greatest numbers I have ever seen, and apparently that's not good enough to be the starting goaltender on this team. They said, nah, we want bro on the bench. He had better numbers than the starter. You know what? I want the Phantoms to fail now. I want this team to see a lot of success. I want them to fail now. I'm happy they didn't win the Calder Cup. They didn't deserve to win the Calder Cup because they're holding back Marty Wah. You know what? I hope Marty Wah becomes a free agent pretty quick, and then somebody offer sheets him away from the Philadelphia Flyers, because apparently they don't value him. They don't value our king, because right now he's playing like one of the best goaltenders in the league, but nobody's putting respect on his name. Like, what happened this season is an absolute joke. Marty Wah didn't see any postseason action. No, they're holding our man back. They are disrespecting Marty Wah to a level I didn't think I would ever see. So I guess the only thing we can do before we head to next season is figure out how the Philadelphia Flyers did. I'm assuming they were an absolute dumpster fire. Based on how they're handling Marty Wah, I can only assume they're a dumpster fire, because why aren't they allowing this man to be the #1 option? They made the postseason, finishing 18th in the entire league. More than likely they completely folded because they were 18th in the entire league. Obviously they're not going to be doing too much. They made it to the second round but lost to the Florida Panthers. Nah, why are we disrespecting Marty Wah like that? That's just crazy work. Okay, I'm not going to lie, this makes it look even crazier. You went out and got Guzda for 1 season. You didn't want Marty Wah to be the starting goaltender, so you went out and got Guzda. Why are you disrespecting our king like that? We might have a problem after this season. I might start scrapping the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, because what I just saw is a little bit disrespectful. Actually, not just a little bit disrespectful, incredibly disrespectful. What are we doing here? They're the same overall, but Marty Wah has to be the backup goaltender. Why did we even bring Matt Murray in? We don't need him. We don't need Matt Murray, who's 33 years old. How about we let the young goaltender who has high franchise potential see some action? Maybe, just maybe, we should let the high franchise potential goaltender see some action. Maybe that makes a little bit of sense. Maybe the goaltender who has high franchise potential should get a majority of the starts. Maybe I'm crazy, but why on earth did we bring in Matt Murray? We don't need him. He doesn't fit a role on this team. Unless your plan is to call up Marty Wah in the first 10 games of the NHL season, what are we doing here? Like, it makes no sense. They don't want Marty Wah to see any success. They want this man to fail and fail miserably, but he won't allow that to happen. Even though he doesn't have the team in front of him, and even though they won't give him the reins, he's still going to dominate this season. Now, the disrespect has gone too far. Marty Wah was given the greatest team of all time last season. What happened this season? Well, they completely fell off. Marty Wah was the starting goaltender, and then this team completely fell off. You can't make this up. No way we are disrespecting our man this much. He was given a super team last year, a team he was going to dominate with, and then they said, nah, we're bringing in Guza to be the starting goaltender. Marty Wah, you can go sit on the bench. And then this season, when Marty Wah gets to be the starter, what do? They give him a below average team. And you know what? He wasn't even the starter here. He didn't even play more games than Matt Murray. They had this man as the backup this season, and as the backup, 21 wins, one show, a 906 and a 265. Why are we disrespecting this man right here? Why are we disrespecting Marty Wah? It's just not right. The disrespect towards Marty Wah has gone on far too long. I believe he's an RFA heading into free agency. Somebody send him a qualifying offer. He wants to leave Philadelphia. Don't allow this man to waste any more years with Philly, because they're just ruining his career. They are not giving him a fair opportunity. When it comes to the Philadelphia Flyers, what did they do this season? Did they make the playoffs? It doesn't look like it. It looks like they were one of the worst teams in the entire league, 26th. And what was their main problem? They couldn't keep the puck out of the net. 3.29 goals allowed per game. I bet you if Marty Wah was in between the pipes, that wouldn't have happened. If you just developed Marty Wah properly, you wouldn't have this problem. But nope, you refuse to develop this man. So we're moving into free agency. I'm really hoping Marty Wah is an RFA, and I'm really hoping somebody sends a qualifying offer over so he can leave this team. And Philly, when you see that qualifying offer, don't match it. Marty Wah doesn't want to be a part of your organization anymore. And Philly's pick went to Chicago when they got the first overall. That's just fantastic. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have some incredible news. As you can see, we're currently looking at the Philadelphia Flyers roster, and that could only mean one thing. That means our man Marty Wah has finally made the jump to the NHL, and it looks like that's the case. Marty Wah is the new starting goaltender for the Philadelphia Flyers, currently sitting at a 78 overall. It's his time to take over. It's his time to dominate the NHL. Marty, you've been given the crease finally. It's time for you to lead this Philadelphia Flyers team back to another Stanley Cup. So far, they've won 2 in the past without you. Now it's time for you to win one with them. The mismanagement of Marty Wah's development is finally over. He's finally making his debut in the NHL. Not only is he looking to win a Calder in his rookie season, but he's also looking to win the Stanley Cup. Now, Marty Wah, you finally made your debut in the NHL. You finally got to play a full season here. Now, how'd that go for you? Well, unfortunately, Marty Wah is not going to be making the postseason, but 19th in the entire league with a 39, 36, and 7 record isn't terrible. Like, we have to remember, bro's still like a 78, 79 overall, so he's not the highest overall goaltender by any means. So Philly not making the postseason with him in between the pipes, truthfully, that shouldn't be the biggest surprise in the world. But Marty, you finally got to play an entire season in the NHL. Hopefully that's a sign for what's to come in the future. Now, when it comes to your numbers, what'd you do? 34 wins, 3 shots, a 910 and a 318. Okay, a 910 and a 318 don't really go together. So this kind of tells me that we weren't playing any defense whatsoever, because a 318 is very bad, but a 910 is not terrible. I feel like Marty just faced a lot of shots this season, like way more shots than he should be facing. Like, let's just take a look at all goaltenders in the NHL, and Marty Wah faced the most shots. He faced more shots than any other goaltender. He posted a 910, which certainly isn't terrible. Like Joseph Woll, he faced the second most shots, and he posted a 914. So a 910 for Marty Wah, honestly, that's not too bad. He's up to an 81 overall, but at 24 years old, he doesn't have too much room for growth. So he better take the next step pretty quick here. If he wants to turn into that superstar goaltender we've been waiting for, he's got to do it pretty quick. Also, he is on the final year of his contract, so he is looking for a contract extension. It's it's time for him to get paid the big bucks. Whether the Philadelphia Flyers are going to be paying him that money or not, well, that remains to be seen, but I can only imagine he's going to be sticking around with the franchise. Also, by the way, Philly's going to be giving up their first round pick once again. The reason that they don't have any first round picks is they sent a qualifying offer for Moss. That's like the 94 overall we have on our team right now that's playing first line right wing minutes. They sent a qualifying offer over to Chicago in order to get him. Chicago didn't match the offer. So yeah, Philly had to give up 4 years of first round picks. That hasn't really worked out for us. Now I think it's time that we have a conversation about Marty Wah, because I think he is the most confusing goaltender in the NHL right now. So he's an 82 overall, definitely not the highest rated goaltender in the game. He's only getting paid $2.2 million, a little bit disrespectful considering he has high franchise potential. But let's just take a look at his stats. So his reflexes are 5 stars. He has a 96 in his breakaway and 5-hole, a 91 in his glove high and his glove low, and a 99 in his stick high and his stick low. The only thing bad when it comes to his reflexes is his angles, and that's a 77. So when it comes to him saving the puck, he's one of the best. Now when it comes to his puck control, he doesn't have the greatest rebound control and the greatest recovery in the world. He does play the puck quite a bit. He can't poke check to save his life. He has terrible poise and he can't pass. And then to make things even more confusing, he doesn't have great aggressiveness. He's actually a pretty slow player. He has bad agility and bad speed. He's not very durable. He doesn't have great endurance and he has pretty poor vision. So after looking at all of these stats right here, how good of a goaltender is Marty Wah? Because like when it comes to his reflexes, and those are the main attributes when it comes to him making a save, he has incredible stick high and stick low. His glove high and glove low is pretty solid. His breakaway and 5-hole is amazing. His angles could use a little bit of work, but that's really it. The attributes that affect Marty Wah making saves look incredible. Everything else is what holds his overall back. So as an 82 overall, truthfully, he probably should be like a 90 overall. His reflexes are right up there with the 90 overall goaltenders. His other attributes, well, they're more on par with the 60 overall goaltenders. So he's right in the middle between a 90 overall and a 60 overall. You really don't know what you're going to get season in and season out. But Marty Wah, you're the starting goaltender once again for the Philadelphia Flyers. Hopefully next season you can take that next step and get up to like an 83, maybe even an 84. Because if you peak at an 82 overall, well, that's not going to be a great sign for what's to come. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have some great news for the Philadelphia Flyers and Marty Wah. So not only are the Philadelphia Flyers going to be finishing 10th in the entire league with a 44-30-8 record, but when it comes to their defense, it was a top 3 defense in the entire league, meaning Marty Wah was a top 3 goaltender, because obviously that logic makes perfect sense. Marty Wah just had one of the best seasons of his career, and I think this was the perfect time for him to have the best season of his career because he really had to prove himself this season. There were a lot of doubters out there, but Marty Wah said, nah, I'm the guy for this team. 32 wins, 6 shots, a 914 to 269. He was looking incredible this season, but he's still only an 82 overall. The fact that this man hasn't been developing is a little bit ridiculous. However, when it comes to his reflexes, those look absolutely incredible. It's the 2 other categories that are holding down his overall. But you know what? I'm not going to focus on those categories as much. All we know is Marty Wah can make saves with the best of them, and he's stepping up when it matters. But could he help this team win a Stanley Cup? It doesn't look like it. The Montreal Canadiens are going to be sweeping the Vegas Golden Knights. Meanwhile, when it comes to the Philadelphia Flyers, well, they lost to the Montreal Canadiens in the first round. So yeah, that's kind of tough. So when the lights were the brightest, Marty Wah just couldn't step up. But then again, they did lose to the eventual Stanley Cup champions, so it's not like they lost to a bunch of bums. And then Marty Wah, your numbers were pretty solid. A 918 to 251. Your team has to score a couple more goals in front of you. Like over a 7-game series, you only allowed 17 goals. That doesn't seem crazy at all. So I need the rest of the Philadelphia Flyers to step up. If they really want to win a Stanley Cup with Marty Wah, I'm going to need them to be a little bit better. Now, when it comes to individual awards, I can't imagine Marty Wah is taking home anything this season, and it doesn't look like it. However, there is one notable thing we should know heading into the offseason. Marty Wah is a UFA. The Philadelphia Flyers are yet to re-sign him, so he's looking to test free agency here. It looks like they have offered him a contract, so I guess we'll see what happens. So I have some good news. It looks like our man Marty Wah is going to be staying loyal to the soil. He wants to stay with the Philadelphia Flyers, and truthfully, I think that was the right decision. However, he's only up to an 83 overall, which I think is a little bit disrespectful, and he's dropped a high star potential. Nah, what are we doing here? Marty Wah has shown he's one of the best goaltenders in the league. He has proved himself time and time again, but this game just won't let him develop. They keep on disrespecting our man. It's not right. It's not right whatsoever. However, we're not going to worry too much about this. Who cares what his overall is if he wins 3 straight Stanley Cups? So Marty, you know what you have to do. win 3 straight Stanley Cups, complete a three-peat by yourself. I'm definitely not setting unrealistic expectations for you whatsoever, and on top of that three-peat you're going to complete yourself, how about you win 3 Vezinas while you're at it, and maybe even a Hart Trophy. Now, after the success the Philadelphia Flyers saw last season, you would think that success would continue. Apparently not. We dropped to 14th in the entire league, a 40-32-10 record. The defense wasn't nearly as good this season. I don't know why there was such a big fall off, but I guess there was for the Philadelphia Flyers. Marty Wah, I'm assuming the numbers aren't looking nearly as good this season, but at the end of the day, you're still the number 1 with the Philadelphia Flyers. If this team wants to see success, you're going to have to carry the way. And you know what? These numbers don't look terrible. 31 wins, 6 shutouts, a 908 and a 284. I'm not going to say these are good numbers because these are definitely not good numbers, but 31 wins and 6 shutouts, I'll definitely take that. I think the main problem with Philly this season was the fact that we did not score goals at all. Like, this offense was terrible. Moss, you had 62 points this season. How many points did you have last season? 75. Why is the offense just completely falling off from you? You were a 95 overall and had 62 points. What are you even doing here? Like, you have one job, and that job is to produce offensively, and you didn't do that. On top of that, the Philadelphia Flyers aren't winning the Stanley Cup, but they did make it all the way to the conference finals. Marty Wah must have went on an incredible run because there's no reason this team should have got out of the first round. Like, we all saw that Philadelphia Flyers team. There is no reason that team should have seen any success, so Marty Wah must have stepped up big time, and I think that is the case based on the scoring. Marty Wah, 10 wins, 1 shutout, a 914 to 284. Okay, I'm not going to gas up these numbers. You were a little bit disappointing this season. Marty Wah, I had incredibly high expectations for you this season. I was hoping you'd be able to lead this team to a Stanley Cup, but I guess that's not the case. Instead, we're going to be falling in the conference finals, but that is more postseason success than we've seen in the past, so maybe we're heading in the right direction. So we have another offseason of development for Marty Wah, but I believe next season he's going to have exact start potential. Hopefully at some point in his career, he's going to be able to go up to like an 84, maybe even an 85 overall, because if he's sitting at 82 overall for his entire career, it's going to be hard for him to win Stanley Cups, especially if the team's not stepping up in front of him. Now, unfortunately, I think the Philadelphia Flyers team has taken a step back this season. Like, they're just not looking nearly as good as they were last season, and considering they weren't really that great of a team last season, oh yeah, we're cooked. We have Logan Mailloux. Yep, no chance we win. There is no chance we're seeing any success. Marty Wah, your numbers are going to look terrible this season because you have Logan Mailloux playing defense in front of you. I don't care what you do this season. It doesn't matter. We're not seeing any success. Now, I haven't taken a look at the standings or anything quite yet, but as we know, Logan Mailloux is playing defensive minutes for us, so I can only assume Philly is one of the worst teams in the entire league. What a surprise. 27th in the entire league. We didn't put a defense in front of Marty Wah. What did we expect to happen? Like, we put no good defensive players in front of this man and then said, hey, win us the Stanley Cup. Obviously, that's not going to be happening. And then on top of that, we weren't even that good offensively. Nah, this team just sucked this season. Marty Wah, there's nothing more you could have done. 28 wins, 1 shutout, a 902, and a 310. I'm not even going to blame you for what happened this season. Not one single goaltender in the NHL could have seen success with this Philadelphia Flyers team based on what you were given. You had no help whatsoever. It should be no surprise that we're not even making the playoffs. The one bright spot is we were bad enough where we might be getting a pretty valuable draft pick. Hopefully Philly still owns it. For a second, I thought we traded our pick, but it was actually the Islanders that traded their pick. Utah's going to be receiving the 5th overall. For a second, I thought that was Philly. I really thought we gave up another valuable first round pick, but luckily we didn't, so we hold the 6th overall. Now, I'm really hoping we're walking away with a medium league potential defenseman. A defenseman would be a game changer. I wouldn't even be mad about drafting a defensive defenseman 6th overall, but instead we're getting a medium top 6 potential sniper. Isn't that just fantastic? Washington, you better not draft a medium league potential player right after this. Thankfully, they're not. But yeah, we got the best player available, but unfortunately that player is not a defenseman. Like, see this guy that St. Louis drafted? I would have preferred him. Now, if things weren't bad enough for the Philadelphia Flyers, well, things just got significantly worse. Marty Wah, they're doing you dirty. They're doing you so incredibly dirty here. It's a little bit ridiculous. Actually, not a little bit ridiculous, beyond ridiculous. He's the backup this season. Marty Wah is the backup for the Philadelphia Flyers heading into this season. Luckily, this is the final year of his contract at $6.5 million, so he's not going to have to worry about returning to the team next season. He's going to be given his opportunity to leave, and he's going to leave the Philadelphia Flyers. But Philly, you have disrespected my mans a little bit too much. Why on earth is he the backup here? I don't care if this guy has medium league potential. At one point, Marty Wah had high franchise potential, and you didn't treat him like this. Why are you treating the guy who has medium league potential better than the guy who had high franchise potential? Nah, they just hated Marty Wah from the very beginning. Nobody wanted to see Marty Wah have success, and because of that, he's going to be the backup this season. It's just not right. Now, why am I not surprised that the second Marty Wah gets moved to the bench, the Philadelphia Flyers see way more success, 8th in the entire league, a 47, 28, and 7 record. I don't even know what to say anymore. I just don't. My man Marty Wah has been done wrong a handful of times. Also, Moss went over to the Vegas Golden Knights and picked up 106 points. So yeah, Philly's definitely missing him. But Marty Wah, you have been done wrong your entire career. No team has given you a fair opportunity. You've been given the toughest battles time and time again, and that's what happened this season. You only played in 23 games, 12 wins, a 912 and a 276. Please tell me you haven't re-signed with the Philadelphia Flyers. It doesn't look like it. So he's going to be testing free agency, and he's going to be moving teams. Marty Wah, you deserve the opportunity to be a starter again in the NHL. When you've been the starter, you've always put up some great numbers, but I guess the Philadelphia Flyers are turning their back on you. I can't believe they're doing this. When it comes to the postseason, is Philly coming out on top? They better not be. If Philly wins the Stanley Cup here, I'm going to lose my mind, but thankfully it's going to be the Ottawa Senators. The Philadelphia Flyers, well, they did absolutely nothing, lost in 5 games in the first round. I know for a fact if Marty Wah was starting those games, you wouldn't have lost in the first round. I can tell you that for a fact. Philly, because you disrespected Marty Wah, you're going to be losing in the first round. It shouldn't be much of a surprise. And look at this man's numbers. An 891 and a 393. Yeah, Marty Wah would never. If you had Marty Wah in between the pipes, you would have had a completely different result. But you want to disrespect our man, so that's what you get. So Marty Wah is moving into free agency, and he is done with the Philadelphia Flyers. He doesn't want to be with that organization anymore, especially with the way they've been disrespecting him. He wants to take his talents somewhere where they're going to appreciate him. However, I don't know who's going to give you $6.8 million. So yeah, good luck with getting that bag. Now we're 20 days into free agency and Marty Wah has finally signed a contract. $6 million for the next 4. Where is he going to be taking his talents to? He's going to be joining the Detroit Red Wings. I'm not too sure what Detroit's looking like nowadays, but Marty Wah can definitely help their franchise. So Marty Wah has joined the Detroit Red Wings, and honestly, the forward core on this team doesn't look terrible. They have a handful of decent overalls in the top 6. When looking at the defense, that could certainly use some work. But once they improve this defense, I think they could compete for some Stanley Cups, because at the end of the day, who's in between the pipes? It's Marty Wah, and we all know Marty Wah can step up in the big time games. We know he can win you some games, or at least that's what I've been saying this entire video. Marty Wah, I need you to prove everyone wrong. There are people that still doubt you. People still say you were never able to live up to your potential. I don't care what your overall is. If you're able to win 3 Stanley Cups over the next 10 years, then nobody can really question your greatness. Who cares what the overall is? Stanley Cups are what matters. To be fair though, it's going to be very hard to win 3 Stanley Cups over the next 10 years, especially with the way Detroit's building their team right now. Like, they really don't have any solid defensive players. Now I'm fully convinced at this point the game's mocking me. Detroit really had to finish 1 point below the Philadelphia Flyers. Like, you had to finish 1 point below Philly. Nah, the game's just laughing at me right now. I do want to point out we did have a better defense than them. We allowed 210 goals this season. They allowed 227. Maybe you could use Marty Wah on the team. Maybe if you had Marty Wah, you would have made those additional saves, but that's neither here nor there. The Detroit Red Wings are 1 point back at the Philadelphia Flyers. I hope we went on a longer postseason run than them. If they had a better postseason run, then I'm going to be very upset. But Marty Wah, what a season. 38 wins, 6 shots, a 925 and a 240. These might be Vezina numbers, and he's up to an 89 overall. Here he is. He's ready to take over. Marty Wah is finally here. At 29 years old, he is an 89 overall. Philly, you messed up. You went with that bum who had medium league potential. Marty Wah, 89 overall now. He is ready to take over the NHL. Under contract for 3 more years at $6 million. You never should have questioned him. You never should have questioned the king in Marty Wah. Unfortunately, though, we're not going to be winning the Stanley Cup, but we made it to the Cup final, and we beat the Philadelphia Flyers in the conference finals. Heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking for Marty Wah. They counted him out. They said Marty Wah is no good. They said Marty Wah can't hack it with the greats in the NHL, but he proved them all wrong. And Marty Wah in the postseason, 14 wins, 3 shouts, a 936 and a 207. Let's take a look at these numbers. So his reflexes, they're incredible. His puck control has improved quite a lot. That's up to 4 stars now. His physicals are 3 stars, so still not the greatest in the world, but Marty Wah is up to an 89 overall. He is proving he can compete with the best goalies in the game. Just look at these postseason numbers. I can't ask for too much more. Now, when it comes to awards, Marty Wah, are you taking any home? Did he win the Vezina this season? There is a possibility, because he had some incredible numbers. When it comes to the Vezina winner, it's Marty Wah. When it comes to the William Jennings, it's Marty Wah. The disrespect is done. You can't say this man's not one of the best goalies in the league anymore. Marty Wah is here. Marty Wah is ready to take over the NHL. Everyone better be scared of Detroit moving forward. The Red Wings are ready to win some Stanley Cups. Now, last season, all the haters were silenced. Marty Wah is turning into that superstar goaltender, and he's ready to take over the NHL. On top of Marty Wah looking to take over, so are the Red Wings. Jack Hughes is going to be joining the team as a 95 overall. He's going to be a huge upgrade for the team. The defense is still looking a little bit questionable, but in between the pipes, Marty Wah, an 89 overall. He is ready to dominate the NHL. He's ready to prove he's the best goaltender in the game. Philly, you messed up big time. You didn't want my man when he was an 82 overall. You don't deserve him when he's an 89. Now, I think we can all agree expectations have never been higher for Marty Wah and the Detroit Red Wings, and this season they looked incredible. They were actually so good. They were 3 points ahead of the Philadelphia Flyers. You love to see it. The Red Wings fifth in the entire league with a 46, 26, and 10 record. I'm expecting big things from this team, not only in the regular season, I'm expecting big things from this team in the postseason. I'm going to need these guys to step up big time, including Marty Wah. But you know what? He steps up time and time again, and that's exactly what he did during the regular season. 38 wins, 4 shouts, a 907 and a 278. I'm not going to lie, I thought the numbers would be slightly better than this. He has dropped to an 82 overall. You can't make this up. Bro was an 89 overall for one season. What are we doing? EA, what are we doing here? How does a man jump 7 overalls over the course of one season, only for him to drop 7 overalls the following year? They are just disrespecting my man Marty Wah so much, it's ridiculous. Like, so incredibly ridiculous, it's actually a little bit funny. Except I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing in the slightest. The Red Wings are going to be losing in the second round. Like, what are we doing? This game has to be mocking me. Like, there is just no way you make this man an 89 overall, one of the best in the game, and then the season after that, you make him drop to an 82 overall, especially after posting 5 wins, 2 shouts, a 929, and a 221 in the postseason. Why on earth did he drop 7 overalls? Like, it doesn't even make any sense whatsoever. His puck control completely fell off, his physicals fell off, even his reflexes dropped off a little bit. Why did he drop 7 overalls at 30 years old? Nah, this game is disrespecting my man's a little bit too much. Marty Wah is a hero, one of the best in the game, and they are disrespecting him far too much right now. He is supposed to go down as one of the greatest goaltenders of all time, but instead this game laughs at him. They laugh at him, they mock him, and they don't allow him to see success. Now, I think it's time we play a bit of a game. The game is called What Overall is Marty Wah heading into this season? Is he an 89 overall? Is he an 82 overall? Is he a 78 overall? Is he an 85? Nobody knows what overall he's going to be heading into this season, but it looks like he's going to be an 82 overall. At the ripe age of 31, Marty Wah has dropped 7 overalls to an 82. I don't even know what to say here. Like, I really don't. How do you drop 7 overalls after one season? Especially at 31 years old. You're supposed to be entering your prime, and you're dropping 7 overalls. Like, how does that work? One thing I will never understand about NHL games is the way progression and regression works in these games, because I swear it's just completely random. One moment you're the best goalie in the entire game, the next you're fighting for a starting spot. Like, how does it happen that quick? Now, even though Marty Wah has regressed, he's still going to lead the Detroit Red Wings to 3rd in the entire league, a 51, 26, and 5 record. He was absolutely dominating this season. And based on that season the Red Wings just had, I can only imagine Marty Wah is definitely going to be in the Vezina conversation. And with these numbers right here, he has to be. 44 wins, 6 shouts, a 920, and a 253. But at the end of the day, who cares about the Vezina? Who cares if Marty Wah went home and won the Vezina? Because at the end of the day, that's not the main goal. The main goal is to win a Stanley Cup, and Marty Wah, you did the impossible. Marty Wah has taken home a Stanley Cup, taking down the St. Louis Blues in 6 games. He's done it. The man who started off as a 0 overall with high franchise potential has finally walked away with the Stanley Cup. He has done the impossible and led his team to a Stanley Cup. He's done it. He is the greatest goalie of all time. He is now a top 3 goaltender in the NHL, and he is going to go down as one of the greatest goalies of all time. 16 wins, 3 shouts, a 925, and a 233. I can't ask for better numbers. But you know what makes this even more funny? The fact that this man is up to an 85 overall. He jumped 3 overalls. He went from being an 82 to an 89, back down to an 82, now up to an 85. The regression and progression in this game makes no sense whatsoever. Like, nothing about the progression system makes any sense, but who cares? Marty Wah is a Stanley Cup champion. Is he taking home the Conn Smythe? It doesn't look like it. Zach Benson's going to take that home. He's not going to win the Vezina. He's not going to win the William Jennings, but who cares? Our man Marty Wah is finally a Stanley Cup champion. He is being respected as one of the best goaltenders in the game. I think this is the beginning of a fantastic run with Marty Wah. He's looking to run it back next season. Now, I think we all know what time it is. It's time to guess Marty Wah's overall. Leave a comment down below. What do you think Marty Wah's overall is heading into the 2040-2041 season? Is he going to be an 82? Is he an 85, an 89, a 78, a 71, a 62, maybe even a 95? Nobody knows, but it looks like Marty Wah is going to be an 84 overall. But to make things even worse, he has fringe star potential now. Marty Wah is starting to regress at 32 years old. Why does he have fringe star potential? He literally just won a Stanley Cup, and he put up some incredible numbers in the process. Nah, this game just hates Marty Wah. I don't know what it is, but they just have something against him. Like, this game just wants to see Marty Wah crash and burn. They do not want him to see any success whatsoever. Like, they see Marty Wah join a really good team, and the very first thing they do is they try to terminate the 3 best players' contracts. They're like, Lucas Raymond, Jack Hughes, you guys can't play for Detroit. That's not allowed. So the NHL is going to terminate your contracts, so you have to leave Detroit just so Marty Wah has a worse team in front of him. Nah, they've been doing my man dirty since year number 1, but even with all that, he's won a Stanley Cup, he's won a Vezina, he's won a William Jennings. He's exceeded all expectations. I mean, not really, because he did start with high franchise potential, but based on the disrespect and the hate he has received, he's definitely exceeded expectations. Now, as long as Marty Wah is with the Detroit Red Wings, this team's always going to be competing. A 48-29-5 record. We all know what the plan is. The plan is to repeat with the Red Wings. Marty Wah takes home his 2nd straight Stanley Cup and then even wins the Vezina this season. Expectations are incredibly high for this man, but you know, when the lights are the brightest, he's going to be stepping up. His numbers this season, not too bad. 35 wins, 4 shots, a 912 and a 274. What overall is he? He's an 82. Why am I not surprised? Why am I not surprised he's dropped 2 overalls? And when the postseason came around, the San Jose Sharks are coming out on top, taking down Marty Wah and the Detroit Red Wings. They are falling once again. Marty Wah has made it to 3 Stanley Cup finals with the Red Wings, but he was only able to win one of them. If only this team could have provided a bit more offense, because you know, when the lights were the brightest, our man Marty Wah did step up. What were his numbers this time? Well, he posted 14 wins, 5 shots, a 936 and a 209. Nah, Detroit, you let this man down. Ravensbrücken had an incredible postseason as well. Can't hate on him, but look at Marty Wah. 5 shots, a 936 and a 209. There's not too much more he could have done. Now, I hate to say it, but Marty Wah, you're getting towards the end of your career. I don't know if you're the player you used to be in the past. I think you're going to start seeing some regression, and with your contract up right now, who knows where you're going to be playing next season. I mean, I guess we could take a look at his contract. Maybe he's re-signed with the Red Wings already. Marty Wah might already be returning, and we don't even know, but it doesn't look like it. He's ready to test free agency. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. It kind of hurts my heart to see this. Marty Wah is currently a free agent. He's looking for $3.5 million as an 82 overall, but that fringe star potential, it just doesn't sit right with me. Marty Wah's potential should be higher than fringe starter, and his role as backup goaltender. Nah, this game never wanted him to see success. From the very beginning, they've been hating on my man. I know I mentioned this like 7 or 8 times by this point, but still, the disrespect towards Marty Wah is unacceptable. Like, he's one of the best goalies in the league. In the past 4 seasons, he's made to 3 Stanley Cup finals, winning one of them, and on top of that, he even won a Vezina. How does the NHL view this man? Well, they view him as a backup goalie. So Marty Wah, we're 10 days into free agency. Have you signed a contract with anybody? Well, it looks like you have signed a contract. Now, I'm really hoping you sign with a competitive team, or maybe even a team that is very bad, so you can get some starts. You're going to be signed for $3.3 million over the next 2 years, and where are you going to be taking your talents? Well, it looks like you're joining the Toronto Maple Leafs. You know what? It's time for Marty Wah to take on his toughest task yet, win the Toronto Maple Leafs a Stanley Cup. Now, Marty Wah, I'm going to keep it a $150 with you. You are not winning with this team. This team is not going to be good enough for you to win with. This team is actually very, very bad. Shout out to Kavasha. I guess he's going to be playing some secondary minutes. But yeah, this team is certainly not good enough for you to win with. And you're not even the starting goaltender. Bobby Marshall is going to be the starting goaltender. How many years is he signed for? He's only signed for 1 season. So maybe the plan is Marty Wah is going to take over for him next season. However, he has dropped to an 81 overall. Let's face it, Marty Wah doesn't have too many years left. It's an absolute shame that Marty Wah is going to be finishing finishing off his career as a backup goaltender, because that's not who Marty Wah is. Marty Wah should have been a starter since day number one. They should have gave him opportunities to see success, but for some reason, the NHL just didn't want to see a guy like Marty Wah succeed. That's why he spent so many years as a backup. In the years in which he played as a starter, well, he was one of the best in the game. Now, I don't really care too much about the Toronto Maple Leafs, because at the end of the day, Marty Wah wasn't even their starting goaltender. He was the backup for the Maple Leafs, and this team went on to miss the postseason, 17th in the entire league. Now, if Marty Wah was the starting goaltender, this wouldn't have happened. Plain and simple, if Marty Wah was the starting goaltender for the Toronto Maple Leafs, this team would have made the playoffs. Their actual starting goaltender, well, he had a .902 and a .315. Ignore Marty Wah's numbers because they were not good, but if he was the starting goaltender, these numbers would have been better and Toronto would have made the playoffs. But instead, Marty Wah has to ride the pine this season. He is dropped to an 80 overall. Marty Wah's career might be ending sooner than later. I have no clue when he's going to retire. Maybe he'll retire at 33 years old. I really hope he doesn't retire here, but you know what? Anything is possible. The Maple Leafs missed the playoffs. The Edmonton Oilers are Stanley Cup champions. Marty Wah, please don't tell me this is the end. Now, thankfully, we don't have to worry about Marty Wah retiring quite yet. He's going to stick around for a couple more years. Maybe I shouldn't say a couple more years. He's sticking around for at least one more season. Now, Marty Wah, it's officially the last dance. This is going to be the final season you play in the NHL. Whether or not you retire after this season, well, that's up to you, but this is going to be your last season in the NHL. Moving forward, you're going to be an AHL goaltender. You've dropped to a 78 overall. I can't imagine you're going to be backing up for any NHL team next season. More than likely, you're just going to be an AHL starter. You might even be an AHL backup depending on what your regression looks like. It just hurts to see Marty Wah sitting at a 78 overall. He deserves more than this. Now, Marty Wah, in likely your final NHL season, did you at least make the playoffs? It doesn't look like it. The Toronto Maple Leafs are actually one of the worst teams in the entire league. No, they did Marty Wah dirty. No way the Toronto Maple Leafs signed this man only to run him straight into the ground. They didn't allow him to see any success. It's not right. Not right in the slightest. Marty Wah, everyone has done you dirty, and you're not even the goalie here. Marty Wah got sent to the AHL. No, this is even more disrespectful. He got traded. Nah, Marty Wah, I'm sorry. You did not deserve this injustice done to you. Unless you got traded over to the Nashville Predators, then we're perfectly fine with it. But seriously, what are the odds that Marty Wah got traded over to the Nashville Predators? If anything, he's probably chilling in the AHL right now. You just hate to see it. Marty Wah deserves more than this, and it looks like he's in the AHL and he didn't even play any games in the AHL. His career is over. Marty Wah's career has come to an end. Nah, you just hate to see it. But Marty Wah, I don't want to look at your stats right now. I don't want to look at your career totals right now. We have to simulate to the retired players page so you can get a true goodbye. Also, if you don't retire here, I'm calling your career right now. Like, you didn't even play in the AHL. You need to face it. Your career is over. And you know what? It seems like it's the perfect time to retire. You can retire alongside Connor Bedard, Michkov, Marco Rossi, Demidov, Owen Power, one of your old teammates, Zach Benson, another one of your old teammates. It's the perfect time for Marty Wah to call it a career, but for some reason he is not retiring. I don't know why you're not retiring. Like, you're literally not playing next season. You didn't even play this season. So Marty Wah, unfortunately, I have to do something I didn't want to do. I need to force you to retirement. Now, this is something I just never wanted to do. I never want to have to force a player's retirement, but you know what? We have to do that today with Marty Wah. He didn't play in the NHL this season. He didn't even play in the AHL. His career's over. No team is going to take a chance with Marty Wah moving forward. So just like that, his career has come to an end. Marty Wah, a player who started off as a 0 overall with high franchise potential. If you were to ask me, he exceeded expectations because he was dealt the toughest hand season in and season out. Every team in the NHL had something against Marty Wah. In 580 games played, he picked up 301 wins and 37 shutouts while posting a 912 and a 280. Marty Wah, a lot of teams did you dirty. You didn't deserve the hand that you were dealt. You deserved way more than this. You played 4 seasons in the AHL before you made the jump to the Philadelphia Flyers. You even played 1 season with the Moose Jaw Warriors where you posted an 893 and a 344. But at the end of the day, these numbers don't matter. Nobody's going to remember Marty Wah's save percentage. Nobody's going to remember his goals against. No one's even going to remember how many wins he had. But they will remember a couple things. And those things are the 1 Stanley Cup he won, the 1 Vezina trophy he won, and the 1 William Jennings trophy. He's immortalized. Nobody will ever forget Marty Wah because when they go back and look through the history book, books, looking at players who won the Stanley Cup, and looking at players who won the Vezina Trophy and William Jennings, Marty Wah is going to be in that book. He is going to be in that record book, and he will never be forgotten. At one point in time, he was the best goaltender in the NHL, and he was so good, he was even able to lead his team to a Stanley Cup. Marty Wah, the skill that you brought to the NHL will never be forgotten. I just wish people put a bit more respect on your name and gave you an opportunity sooner rather than later, because truthfully, you started your NHL career far too late. They should have given you the reins way earlier.